all you can and you're running with kings. But how far could you go if you run with the wind? And the chances you take are what give you wings, and you can fly.
Back again for a short conversation with Kent Roberts regarding civility. And Kent, in this clip, we'd like to get your insight on the question of what do you think would be something that we could do to start positive change in communities? How do we get this idea of civility started?
Well, I think that putting things in a broad category, such as if we take a look at a community as the public arena, the private arena, the public sector, the private sector, and the nonprofit sector, just use those three as broad headings. And what we need to do is work across those sectors together. By working in your silo, whatever your silo is, say whether it be a school community, or whether it be a healthcare community, or whether it be administering government, or whether it be at the workplace, whether it would be at some form of community giving or a community service type situation. If you operate in your silo, even if you operate with strong principles of dignity, treating people with dignity and respect, using the golden rule, all these other different things, you're not going to have much of an impact as you would if you could work across sectors. So this is spread like a diagonal slice right across your community between the public, private, and nonprofit sectors. And if you can start whenever possible engaging other sectors in your work and in your trainings, in your building, in your work, in your communication, in your civil discourse, all of this will be tenfold out into your community. So I think that that's really important. And I think the concept of better, if we would look upon this as civility, a civility project, just a civility expert, it brings across the idea that we are working for better, whatever better would be, and whatever you're doing, a better family, a better business, a better community. All of this can be done if, you know, and the impact. Let's say that we take whatever robs your family of resources, whether they be human, fiscal, whatever you social, whatever would rob you, and whatever would rob your business of being things that keep you from being successful at the community level and so on. You think of all the indicators that you have within a community that could be improved, that would make your community so much better. This single dose of civility across the community can impact. And imagine if you just took all those indicators and you just improved them 2, 3, 4, 5%, what that would actually do, how many dollars that would be, how many human lives would be so much better if you could impact. So you need, within your organization, within your community, to try to figure out how we can work together better. And even if it's just create dialogue. Right now, some of you wouldn't even know how to get in touch with. Maybe you're in the private sector. Well, how do I really talk to the public sector? How do I really talk to the school system? How do I really talk to the churches? How do I really talk to, in government or whatever the case may be? So we need to be able to try to figure out how we work across the community, and how do we really just spread the golden rule throughout the entire community, so we start treating each other like we'd like to be treated and start moving forward. And we are just so under leveraged that civility is the main lever that could really help us improve.
Wow, thank you. I have all kinds of questions, but the one thing that you said a few times that kind of stuck with me. I mean, first of all, this idea of better, but also this kind of there's this connotation that comes through that it can be incremental. That it's like change, significant change takes time. But that's not to say that it's sort of like that little 1% that you do every day. After 10 days, you've got 10%. This idea that we can facilitate significant change and reserve resources, build social capital, leverage some of these connections and so on, and that it doesn't have to be an extremely costly endeavor in terms of time and money. It can be incremental and baby steps. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Well, absolutely. But think about just what you said, and if we were able just to do that, I think we can quantify that very easily. In some communities, I know that we were able to, in the area of parenting and be able to at-risk behaviors of students drastically reduce at-risk behaviors of students. Well, when you start talking about people's children and you eliminate or reduce those numbers, think of all the costs that could be involved, but think of the lives and the humanity that is saved there. So it doesn't cost anything just to again to listen or be intentional about creating these things. Imagine this, Lou, and again, the terminology in different communities in different areas of the world are different. But let's take a look at maybe all the different boards that exist within a community, whether it be a school board, an educational board, some form of city council or community governing larger group, a business community, a chamber of commerce, or groups of business who are all there to leverage and increase business opportunities for people. And you start to maybe a religious group of organization, a ministerial association, or something like that. All the different zonings or all the different boards within a community. What if, even if it was just one time a year, you would have a dinner together, and each board had 5 minutes to say, this is what we're looking, this is our major challenge for the year, and this is what we're looking to do. And it would be interesting to find out how many resources other boards could lend to that organization to help them improve. You just don't know what you're going to find. That's what I'm saying. We are so under leveraged. We don't know where all levers are. Well, I wish I would have known. I've got a resource over here. Somebody at a school system said, we need space for this, but we don't have the space and we can't afford to build a new building. Somebody in the private sector says, I've got a whole warehouse that I'm not using right now. And what you're talking about would fit very well in there. You just don't know, Lou, unless you get together and listen to each other and start creating and working together across the community.
The reason why each of us comes to this earth, and your actions will always speak louder than words, and you'll never know what you're capable of until you try.